Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Shana Shai by Shem Brakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that be scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This your brother Malcolm with the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. This is Deuteronomy 32 and 33 and 29. It says, Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency. And thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. And we are going to tread upon their high places, because the time of Esau, Edom is over. They are completely and totally exposed. They have lied about history. They have lied about everything. All right. And yes, Glenn Beck, everything you've ever learned about America has been a lie. Everything. And that was your white privilege. This is Obadiah, the book of Obadiah 1. There's only one chapter, verse 6. And it reads, How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So he's hid and changed history. All right. One of the best shows that I've ever seen on Netflix was The Last Kingdom. When you watch that show, all of the Vikings, all of the Danes, all of the Anglo-Saxons and the people in Wessex and Northumbria and Mercia, all those kingdoms, none of those people were pale flesh people. Yes, the Vikings were not so-called white people. The Anglo-Saxons were not so-called white people. This history is going to thoroughly prove that to be so. All right. This history is from you can even go back before that. All right. But this is from St. Maurice. And as you look at these images, from the 15, that was from 1000 to 1500. Let's look at some of these. Let's just click on it. Let's see what it's going to show us. Black Central Europe. Well, hold on. From 1500 to 17. Yeah. We bring you over 1,000 years of black history in German-speaking lands and show you why it matters right now. And it does, because, see, the truth is coming out. And the truth is very embarrassing and very hurtful to Esau, Edom. And how did these people get dispersed? It talks about a black diaspora all over Europe. All right. And how did that happen? How did these people get spread all over Europe? Let's read this. It says, there are over 1 million people in Central Europe today. 1 million black people in Central Europe today. Most Europeans still don't know the long history of the black diaspora in their countries. As a result, there is a general assumption that black people are a relatively new presence on the continent and thus historical and national outsiders. Through historical investigation, Black Central Europe challenges these assumptions. And there are plenty of books and information that has proved that. Nature Knows No Color Line being one of them. All throughout the book of Nature Knows No Color Line, from page 80, starting at page 76, all the way to page 107 is full of coats of arms of Negro families of royalty and nobility throughout Germany, Holland, and all those different places in Central Europe. and all throughout Europe. All right. After you had lots of anthropological books and studies that proved about that their bodies were found all over Europe, north, south, central, all over Europe, man. And how did this happen? You know what? Let's grab a scripture. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It was prophesied that they would happen, that they would get spread. All right. And this is one of the main curses that fell upon them. And they got, because the Israelites didn't only go to Africa, as some like to try and hint at. All right. Some of you black only Israelites. No, they went to the four corners of the earth. Many scriptures say that they got sent, scattered to the four corners of the earth. But this is Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And it reads, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way wherefore I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. The it was the land of Israel. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. No man shall redeem you from your bondman and your bondwoman status, being a slave. All right. Now, before that happened, when they went and got the Israelites that were on the west coast of Africa, as we brought out before with the Huguenots, a lot of these people that were scattered in Europe, these were your Huguenots, your French Huguenots, which spread all over Europe, and they were called Germans, and they were called Britons, they were called Irish, they was called Scot, they was called all of that, but they were Huguenots. This is a French word, and when they came to America, they helped build America, and they even enslaved their own brothers, both northern and southern kingdom. They were primarily most of the early plantation and landowners when the 13 colonies first built up. They were. All right, so let's just like Glenn Beck was showing you that history with how the natives were speaking, writing, and practicing Hebrew customs. All right, and then he asked at the end of his show, where's this history? And then he got fired off Fox about a week or two later after that. But let's go to 1 Timothy 1 and 10. And it reads, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. Well, the men stealers was mainly Esau, but some of our own brethren did it. The Huguenots, who were definitely Israelites. The research and the history is solid and binding, man. The Huguenots, the Morenos, the Moriscos, the crypto Sephardic Jews, and the Christians, and that were expelled from Portugal and Spain in 1492. As they dispersed and assimilated to all the lands that they went to, they started calling themselves Huguenots. And when they came to America, they actually worked with and helped Esau against both Judah and the northern kingdom, and against Gad and Reuben as well. And a lot of you black only Israelites don't like that, but it's the truth. The truth has come out, man, because they love to hate on the northern kingdom and talk about how Gad was owning slaves. Well, it turns out the Huguenots owned more slaves, and they actually owned a lot of Gadites. All right, and the scripture clearly said, "Thy eye shall be evil toward thy brother." Let's grab another quick scripture. This is Ecclesiastes 12, and no, actually, I think I want. Yeah, not Ecclesiastes, but Ecclesiasticus. Sirach. Because, see, those Huguenots trusted in Esau, and they ended up going into slavery as well. And they made all these deals with Esau even in Europe, and they ended up losing all their lands and their powers, and the Edomites married into the royal families and took them over. All right? And took them over. End up owning and controlling everything, man. All right? They end up owning and controlling everything. But this is Ecclesiastes 12 and 12, and it reads, "Set him not by thee, lest he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. So Esau has always sought to take the place of Jacob. All right. As you see these Moors fighting against these Edomites right here, defending against them right here. I'm not sure what this fresco is from, but it's very ancient, very old. And these Jakes are at a castle. All right, they're at a castle, and the people inside the castle are wearing crowns. All right, royal. These were people of royalty, man. Okay, so why did they lie about this history? Why? Why did they cover this up? You know, and you got to remember, man, that you can't trust Esau, Edom. Remember what happened to Jonathan of the Maccabees and Simon. They both were betrayed and killed by Edomites that they had befriended. Matter of fact, let's go back into that Ecclesiastes. This is Ecclesiasticus. I'm gonna start at verse. Verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. So like metal rust, so is his wickedness. Is always going to show itself. All right? Metal always rusts eventually. All right. Set him not by thee, lest he have overthrown thee, and he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. All right. You're going to be pricked with those words, man. Okay. Because we did get scattered to the four corners of the earth. And one of the last places that we came to, both as freemen and this bond slaves, was to the Americas. Matter of fact, let's go to Tobit. 13 and read like 3 through 5 maybe. This is and it reads, confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he has scattered us among them. There declares greatness and extol him before all living, for he is our power, he is our Yahweh, and he is our power, our Father forever. And he will scourge us for our iniquities, and will have mercy again, and will gather us out of all the nations among he have scattered us. We got scattered to the four corners of the earth, man. All right. And then you had guys like, Johann Blumenbach, Ben Eliezer Yehudi, and basically they all supported white superiority in one fashion or another. Johann Blumenbach basically came with that whole Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Negroid. All right. Darwin created his false science to substantiate what Johann Blumenbach made up. And then what did Ben Eliezer Yehudi did? He changed the Hebrew. He added the vowel points and mixed it with Yiddish and Slavic and German. And now they speak a whole nother language using Hebrew characters, but yet it is accepted and taught as if it is actual Hebrew, and it isn't. Right? They stood up in our places. All right? And they used a lot of our own people to set it up right here in America, in the colonies, man. Then they said, because there was a lot that happened, and don't forget about the thing in 1681. That was a big deal. That's a very important year to the so-called white man, because that was the year that he labeled himself by law as a new category of humanity. You had a new thing called white people. All right? Why? Why did they do that? Because in Ben Franklin, we're going to go to a letter that he wrote, his observation of humanity or something to that effect. I'm going to click on it. And what did Ben Franklin do? Ben Franklin basically made the difference between those Brits that were swarthy and tawny, between those Germans and those others that were not pale like the people on the left. All right, and you notice it's funny too that these people on the right, they're both dark and tawny. They're swarthy and tawny, different shades of brown. All right, you got the real chocolate ones, and then you got the, because there's more to the right. The camera's not picking them up, but there are other people that are, matter of fact, let's just shift it a little bit. You see, different shades of brown. Okay, those are your dark, your swarthy, and your tawny. All right, and so you had so after these Huguenots, these race trading Huguenots who were Israelites, helped set up America. Now it was time for the pale people to raise up, and that was what the founding forefathers of America did. All right, so they took this newfound whiteness and took it to a whole nother level, man. All right, there was a rebellion. I think it's 1664. I forget the exact year, but between 1664 and 1681, before that whole whiteness was declared, or right after that happened, there was something called Bacon's Rebellion, where the elites there was an uprising against the elites, and because the indentured servers, both the Edomite ones, the native ones, the Chinese ones, and the Jakes, they were uprising, and then the elites wanted to establish themselves above all of them, including the Huguenots. And like I mentioned in a prior video, that's why you had, like the movie 12 Years a Slave. That guy was a freeman. He was more than likely, he was one of those Huguenots, well-to-do. All right? Family probably owned slaves or property or land, And so what happened was the Edomites, it was time to get rid of. It was trying to put all you niggas in under their boot. And then they wrote laws that left you out, where you couldn't own firearms, you had no rights, you couldn't take them to court, you couldn't marry their women. All right, as a matter, they made laws where and they punished women, because what was happening prior to those laws, the Edomite women and all the women for the most part were marrying the Huguenots. They were marrying the natives. Some were even marrying the Chinese. No one was marrying the pale men. So they put themselves in an advantageous position over everyone else, and made laws to make women suffer that would not choose them. They made some of those laws. Like I said, they couldn't own land. They completely controlled. They had patriotic control over land, power, their families, firearms, and you could not even come against them in court. So that really put them in a position where they can do anything to anyone else and not get in trouble for it, unless they did it to another pale person. And that's basically, and I'm gonna show you the letter when Ben Franklin. Let's click over to it. When they set this into motion. So let's click on the Ben Franklin's, and it's called Ben Franklin's Racist Project for Future America: An Observation Concerning the Increase of Mankind. All right, so let's see if we can get right down to it when he starts basically admitting when he starts talking about, because this is the guy but there's a part when he starts talking about the tawniness of, and how there's not enough white people in the world, and the tawniness of Europe and of Germany, of the Native Americans, because they were and he's talked about how Asia was tawny. I'm just trying to find it. Okay, maybe I'll just read this first paragraph. And it says, Ben Franklin's one of America's long-lasting heroes. He was a champion and founding father of American democracy, an apostle of the Enlightenment, an inventor and writer, cook, scientist, deeply religious man, and a bigot. Although authors continued to write best-selling biographies about his life, his racism before the concept of race, right? What? Right. There was, because there was really no concept. you or whatever your father were from prior to that. Fails to go beyond his lesser known texts or scholarly cribs and remarks sequestered from the public by grand narratives and social imaginary of the hero worship. Yeah, because they didn't want to teach this in the schools because it would have revealed too much history, too many things. All right, just trying to get down to what's the nitty gritty. Why should we, in sight of superior beings, darken his people? Oh yeah, this is where we want to go. It said the English make the principal body of the white people on the face of the earth. I could wish their numbers were increased. And while we are, as I may call, scouring our planet by clearing America's woods of clearing America's woods. What did that mean? They were killing off and getting rid of Gad. And so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light. Why should we, in sight of superior beings, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so far an opportunity by excluding all blacks and tawnies? And we just saw images of blacks and tawnies. So dark people and brown people, which are basically the same. Increasing the lovely white and red. See, they know that they were red. He wrote the essay as an instructional manual for increasing the population of white people, which also became an argument against slavery. All right. But there's a part of it when he starts talking about the darkness of the people in Europe. And, and this is a big article. This isn't the one this is the guy, the same guy, this Todd Burst guy. But this is May 2018. He got another one from 2019. That's the one I think from that was done in January of 2019. That's the one I was looking for, but it didn't pop that one up. So Salakia. But nevertheless, you get the gist. And then there was a video, a legendary video that was done by the elder out in New York, where he exposed this history. So just putting it all together, man. They're just cold busted. They're exposed and they're busted, man. Let's grab one more scripture. And let's click back. And let's grab what do I want? Jeremiah 50 and 36. And it reads, a sword. You see them pulling their arrows out on these Edomites here. All right. It says, a sword is upon all liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. So time is nearly up for you Edomites, man. The time of your self-worship and your lies is coming to an end. Call Halal Yahweh Bashem Awashai, Bashem Wakakwadash, Wa Abba Babal, Shalom.